Hey everybody, I have a real special treat for you all the way in Colombia. Not from Colombia, but in Colombia, Islam. Man, brother, what's going on with you?
No, man. Just here in Rio Negro, Colombia, man. We're talking to Kellen. I think it's a good idea to start traveling.
What made you go to Colombia and kind of give like a brief history of, where you're from and how you got there? Cuz you're not from Colombia. Somebody may look at you and say,
No.
"Oh, he must be native, whatnot." Cuz there's a lot of brothers and sisters in Colombia. You got that Colombia tan on you.
You know what it was, man? I wanted to focus on full time and be an entrepreneur. It boils down to I wanted to do build my startup, freelance and working my startup full time. I could make it. I could do very well. That's why I chose to leave. Originally I moved all over. I spent my college years, but I'm used to this Navy. I went a lot of different in the military. Then the initial fear that most people have goes away.
Okay, and so the background, you're born in Maryland.
Georgia.
Okay, born in Georgia. Shout out. Was it the ATL or right outside of the
Yeah, it was
ATL?
ATL. ATL. It was
Okay,
ATL.
so an AT alien, natural, which you don't get a lot of that even in Atlanta now. Everybody's from Atlanta, but they weren't born in Atlanta. You know,
That's true.
so from Atlanta, did the Navy, and you wanted to do the startup thing. One second, can you still hear me? Something happened on my computer.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're
Oh man, we can't have that. That's a bad look.
okay.
Yeah, but I can still hear you. Let me see. Computers have a mind of their own. Let's see what happened there. Okay, I'm back. I hope.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I don't see. I still don't see you.
You don't. Okay, let me play with this button and huh. Okay, can you see me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, cool. So
Gotcha.
So, did the Navy and you wanted to freelance and then have your own startup. What type of freelance did you start doing? Because that was probably the start
Oh
before you did
man,
your startup.
came to Colombia. I was trading options contracts. What else? What I was doing? I was doing people's websites, and I got really good at that. So I ended up doing people's websites.
Hmm.
I looked into a lot of different exporting coffee. And so those are kind of slow businesses. I find people's websites, logos, incorporating people. We set up an LLC, and corporation up in the U.S. for them, do the LLC. People from the U.K. That was really good money. That was really good money. So I mean, it's like if you don't kill it, you don't eat. So what it does is it really drives you to be an entrepreneur, man. I mean, it's and to create. When you have to. This is the only way you have to be able to do well for yourself. It really drives you, man. It brings out spirit when you got to figure out how to make things happen financially.
Okay. Now you're talking to Kellen Cash. So, the name Cash and you start talking money. What I love to do and give the people is real life practical advice and tips. Because someone will say,
Yeah.
well, how do I get clients to incorporate? And, while they're asking that question, everybody can, if you can build websites, you can go from being someone on Fiverr or Guru to building websites, and you always build up your
That's right.
clientele. But how did you find people internationally that wanted to do
Oh,
business in the U.S.?
one. There was a website back in the day called elance.com. That was
Mm-hmm.
really, really good. They shut it down. But really, once you get, another thing is that I'm thinking about doing medical tourism because insurance in Colombia is like super insurance. You can get you can come in the rules. Yeah, if you haven't changed without a visa, and then when you first come, everybody has to have their own insurance. You have to have insurance. I think you could probably get insurance for like $75 with no copay. Good. And I'm thinking about doing medical tourism. People come in, they can get treated. Coffee exports. When you think about coffee emeralds. There's some really good things. I mean, honey, exporting honey from Colombia is really good because of the way the honey market is. Many different options that you can check out. I have a book which is in Spanish. I'll show it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
Mm.
But here's a great book, man. That in Spanish means commercial opportunities in Antioquia, different blocks, economic blocks, and this just shows what the things that they exported out of Colombia that's very profitable.
Okay. Now, the money and the different businesses you're talking about, could somebody contact you and say, hey, I want to get into the honey business. How much do I need to do to get started? So when I get down there, I can start my business while I'm in the States, come down there with, my bag, and then already have a business set. Is that something that you offer and would advise? Or how would you advise someone making that first step?
Yeah, there's no such thing as creation attorneys. I could probably help them and help them navigate. Need somebody experienced in entrepreneurship, but oftentimes in Colombia, a little bit they're not like quite like the United States using sometimes. And things are a lot slower. So someone who has connection is listen, go to that person, see this person. That's probably what If I would have had that when I first started off, and really understanding the market, I probably would be rich by now.
Okay, okay. No, I mean, but you are rich because you wrote a book in Spanish. We're about to get into a brother getting Spanish and from Atlanta, Georgia, because it's not like, that was, I'm sure you weren't fluent before you got there.
No.
Yeah, but before I tap into that, I want to know, what would you advise somebody to, how much would they need to start a business in Colombia, and how much would you advise for them to come down if they say, I just want to make that leap right now. I'm tired of, the States.
Thing to keep in mind is the currency, man. That is how that dollar is very strong. So you're talking about, what's the currency? 2,800 pesos. You could get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a house for about 555 there. That's in a really good area. I mean, where I live at is $1 million homes at. Right. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're in that's payment for a house, rent house, TV cribs, $1,500 for a penthouse, and you're living like wow. I mean, I don't know what the square feet are going to be. They do square meters. I think it's square meters. But yeah, I mean, if you want, I mean, I've been in penthouses where upstairs and downhouse penthouses in Medellin, it's room after room after room, and you're over there to come out. Like it's like upstairs, downstairs. You got your own study, places like that, and there's really nice. Or if you want to go to the coast, Santa Marta, restore old houses, big courtyards. I mean, nice houses. It just depends. I mean, I lived in Santa Marta for some time, and I used to run to the beach and go swimming in them. And everybody's, that's the type of. If you want to live somewhere where you can relax, it's not a bad idea. And if you start feeling, wow, I want a little bit of Americanism, you can always go to Panama. Panama is very international in Panama.
And so and this is what, and I told you I use you as an example when I talk about brothers who have gone overseas, or just Americans who have gone overseas. He's really saying for $10,000 a year you could live, pay your bills and have some food money and eat better than you are in the States, by far. And that's what I love about going overseas. It's like the money that we're trying to make in the States, if we already can make money anywhere in the world, we can really live overseas. I mean, we can double, bubble. For everyone who's trying to make $100,000, the life that you're explaining is somebody who makes, close to 6 figures in the States, but they could do it off 10, 20 racks and be like, you know what, I'm not stressed. Now
Well,
if they, huh?
go ahead. No,
Okay.
go ahead, Kellen.
Yeah, so that's the part that I love, and I'm telling you, I will be there sooner than even I know. I have responsibilities. I have things that, we've signed up and we're in contract for. But I love it, and
Yeah.
that's why I want to really highlight this story. And so we got the 10 to 20. Even if you're making 25,000, we know in the States if you're making 25,000, you are pretty much broke. You probably are
That's right.
single. You know if you're not single, you are, either mooching, or you're being told you don't make enough money. Even if it's pastoral work or being a teacher, you're not making enough to live in most places. But let's get into, when you moved down to Colombia, did you already know Spanish?
Came here, I actually knew hola, como estás with us. I know, is de nada. I mean, I knew but
Mm-hmm.
it was a process. Where's the bathroom at, right?
Yeah. Donde es
And the
baño?
first thing for me, figure out what are people saying, listening very well, and then what happened every single day. I started learning how to speak, and now I don't want to call myself. Every topic is normal topic, general conversation. I'm probably almost fluent, and I am complex. Yeah, I'm not. I'm nowhere near. Well, probably about 40% is what I speak in.
Yeah, just like Spanish, if you're a police officer, I mean, there's certain things you'd say in business, or if you were a police officer, you would never say if you were, talking to a woman or something. You would not say, hey, put your hands up, get on your knees, whatnot. In America now, that'll get you fired from any job, so you really can't say that. But the this you learned, and how long did it take you to learn Spanish?
I mean, but see, I didn't study even. I learned from. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't study, and that's one of my downfalls. I mean, I did some. Now, if I had formal, actually took it serious, and I could have probably learned Spanish. And people say I speak really good Spanish, and I can't. When I was in Miami last year. Some guys thought that I came from Colombia. I mean, they were giving me this. I should open a business, and I should do this. I should do. And they thought I had. They thought I was. I was. It's
Yeah.
just it's really to have, man. That's a be in somebody else's shoes, and have experience to have, man.
So
But
so you got there, no Spanish, but you're getting clients from all over, able to build websites, just living. Um,
yeah,
that's amazing, and that
yeah.
you're able to blend in to the culture, and you're just doing it. It's not like you knew anybody. And so when does it come where you say, okay, I'm going to write a book in Spanish? Or did you just have it translated? You wrote it in English and had it translated. How did you write the book in Spanish?
No, I didn't write that book. What happened was at a how to economic block sports in the country.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
Okay. I thought you
Uh,
put the book. I was going to say, this brother has done it. He put a.
I don't. No. But I do work on. Yeah, I'm working on with my company, my startup Mango Bahia.
Mhm.
So that's and that's a challenge, man. But like I said, my idea was if you take all that money, you would really allows you to be successful like that. I really believe if you can live cheap. Yeah, I mean, like for example, our parents, man, from God, because they didn't have. So I mean, a lot of people made a lot of money, became millionaires during that time because we're thinking investment. Now it's like I heard like millennials are not even buying homes anymore because the economy is not you
Wait,
know
they're not buying homes because they're trying to pay for that home of education that
that's right.
many of us have paid for. You bought a home. It's just called Sally Mae or Navient, and and even I know lawyers who are like, I make $50,000 a year. My student loans over 300,000. Went to a great school. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, we really have to reevaluate what we were taught in school, which was, I don't want to say it was a lie, but it wasn't a futurist mindset of what's going to be in the future. I'm already thinking about flying cars and all type of other ideas that if I say online, someone will say, "Hey, that's a great idea," or "It's crazy." But tell me this: when you got to Colombia, did you feel any racism? Because that's always kind of the mixed thing when you go down to South America. If you got money, we know you can have access to a lot. But did you see any racism?
Let me put it like this. Yeah, question, but I'll answer it the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
I think that of every country. I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. I mean, in every country, it's anywhere in the world
Okay.
that exists. Make sense?
Well, it does, but like when you go to like black countries,
Uh,
I haven't personally, and it's always coming from American, I'm visiting perspective. I'm like, this place isn't racist. You go to certain places in Africa, you're like, oh, everything's fair and free. And then you'll hit South Africa, and it's like, people will tell you, nah, it's not fair or free. We're bussed in from Soweto to do the, jobs in the city and then bus back home. And you're like, dang.
uh,
And the same thing with
well,
Jamaica.
that was like part of, from what I understand, from the free trade agreement. It was taking off. I kind of feel, what I understand is that they didn't pretty cool.
That's
This is
awesome.
what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Next.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can't slide in there and say, "Hey, let me get some of this free education." Come out there with a PhD, all the PhDs and JDs. You have to be a natural
Well,
born citizen, I'm sure.
I don't know. The station is a lot cheaper in the United States. You know,
Okay, okay,
I can tell you that it's I know there's a difference in what it costs to be a doctor here and a doctor in the United States. I mean, it's like night and day. The thing is that I know a lot of the doctors. I have a doctor. I think his parents are from, what is it, Colombia or Venezuela? Yeah, a lot of doctors, really good doctors, come from overseas anyhow. So you know.
okay. Now you're are you single out there?
Seeing a girl. Yeah, that's another thing. There's a lot of women here.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are like that. Yeah.
So you're seeing someone, and I met a lot of Colombian and Venezuelan women while I
Uh,
was in San Martin. And when I say met, I don't mean on any like, just had this whatever type of time,
uh,
because I was married then and I was in San Martin. But I'm like, y'all are from Colombia and Venezuela,
yeah.
like, it was a pack. And it was funny because all beautiful, all seem to have breast implants. You know, and I don't know, because at the time I was like, ass implants. I mean, what are those? Like at the time, it's been a minute, but I was like, I was just shocked that I met so many from that area, because in the States we're not taught that South America has so many black people, and I've met so many,
Of course.
and I thought that was beautiful. And to hear the stories, I said, wow, I got documentaries I got to do. Even in Guatemala, Black Guatemala, that, it was beautiful. So you found a woman quick. And I find that when you go overseas as an American, you really can't stay single. Like, you'd have to want to be single,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
even when, I mean, the first time you sit down and people hear American, it's like they're more attracted to that. So how do you know someone is attracted to you, the person, and not the typical American stereotype?
That's very
Okay.
difficult. Are there black people in the United States? Like, a lady asked me that.
Wow.
I said, listen, Barack Obama and the Michelle. Yeah, okay, okay. So, we're trying to haggle. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting right there, just sitting, right?
Yeah.
Kellen, I'm sitting there, I'm chilling, man. And they're getting, like, trying to sell them stuff. I'm sitting right there with a wad of cash in my pocket. And then I speak and I walk away. This was on the coast, man. This was in Santa Marta is when this happened. But, yeah, I mean, you kind of, like, blend in. You think that unless you speak English, they don't really think it's kind of cool. Some people, though.
And I totally I get it when you blend in, because if you can do the language, you could go. I'll say, even for South Africa, if you can even learn a little bit of the 12 languages, their official languages, and you can get around on the combi buses, you're good. You're not going to get overpriced, and people will start telling you you're not from America. Like, where are your parents from? Like, they think you're one of those
Exactly.
people who went to America, got an accent, came back, after school. And that's a good feeling to me, because, like, okay, I fit in. I'm not going to get robbed. I'm not going to get taken advantage of. you know.
When I went to the DR, man,
Mhm.
Kellen, when I went to the DR, that's what it was, man. This guy, amazing. You know what I found out? Like, for example, I seen Kim Kardashian look alike in Santa Marta. I was like, come here, girl, come here, don't go where you going. I've seen look alike. I mean, like identical, short, right?
Yeah.
Seen Rihanna look alike, Colombia.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I'm being straight up, man.
Yeah.
So that tells me you have lookalikes. That's what happens.
And it takes a responsible man to be able to say, you know what? Because some men think I couldn't have Kim Kardashian in America. I'm not one of those, because I really think if you give any woman enough time, and you could get anybody. But the fact that you could go somewhere, and we know there are guys who do, what you want to do, medical tourism. There's guys who do just sexual tourism, just to go to South America, different countries, and try to buy people. But how much sex can one have till you say, I actually want someone who's into me, who I can build something with. I've sold my royal oats, as Coming to America would say, and I know that when I get old, I want to have stories, long-term stories with this person and possibly kids if you so choose. So,
Yeah.
that's a great thing for people who I would say have kind of I can't have that person in America. But talk about how the women treat you, because there's been documentaries. I did a video on it, blacks in Brazil, and I've done one on blacks in South Africa. But the one on blacks in Brazil, the men are like, one old guy was like, I like it here. The woman will put a straw in my drink. And I just want somebody in America to put a straw in that brother's drink, because I know he was dealing with some, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but he was dealing with some real feminist women who I can't serve my man. So talk about how they treat their men in Colombia.
With you,
Mm-hmm.
more or less, like, I mean, they call it things that happen. The thing is that I try to encourage a lot of American men, and we do have like what you were saying, the tourism, sexual tourism, and what I try to do is I tell American men, if you're looking for a wife, you're trying to be kind of straight up guy,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like it's what they're kind of into. It's not really
Yeah.
it's an image for Americans. Does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense. But
Yeah.
let's just say in America, a lot of men want to be served, and
Mhm.
there and I find that international women from many
Uh,
countries don't mind cooking your food and bringing it
of
to you.
course,
That's
of course not.
just a given, and it's okay, and it
Yeah.
doesn't make her any less of a person. To me, it makes her more
Mhm.
of. I mean, anything the Bible talks about a servant. A
That's
servant
right.
is going to be the first one to get blessed. But
Yeah.
and I'm not talking on no slavery. Somebody will
No,
say,
no, no,
"Hey, what
no, no,
about slavery?" Nah, we ain't.
no, no,
We're talking about a true, honest. You have a heart to serve. That's kind of how I run my company. We run it as a servant. We're here to serve you. Now we do have a
yeah.
price, but when we think about time and everything, we're giving you a service. We want to make sure that you're happy because we want you to come back and say good things about us. But no, that's no. So they don't mind serving there, and that's a good. You said a good point. American men, when they do come to Colombia, or any country, don't think you have a slave. If you think that you're gonna get a slave, and
No, man.
you can get that at the brothel, but the brothel can also get you HIV and AIDS or
That's right.
chlamydia or crabs or whatnot.
That's
Especially
right.
old guys who, and I consider myself an old guy. Anybody over 35, you need to stop. Your time was, it's past.
That's
Um,
right.
you're doing too much if you come to South America or anywhere saying, I'm gonna be worshipped, because you're not a god.
Yeah.
You're just a man.
No.
um and so no, that's good. So the women treat you different, and I like, you didn't try to bash the American women. You weren't trying to, that's good.
No.
Yeah.
No. American
Okay.
women are probably good women everywhere,
I mean,
and
they're,
bad ones too.
yeah,
Bad ones too.
yeah, and negative news always travels faster. So nah, that's good to know. Back to the business. You can find a woman, you can start a business, and you can do it for cheap. If
Yes.
somebody wants to contact you, because I just want to put it out there, and they say, how much money do they need to have for you to help them start? Let's say it's that honey business or any type of
Mhm.
import or something. What would they say? Like, they say, I want to invest, and what could
Mhm.
my returns be if I gave you 5,000? What could happen with that five, and when could we start making a profit? I mean, just an estimate, because we know business is nothing you
Mhm.
can measure it, you can give hypotheticals, but you don't know until you get in the nitty gritty. Hmm.
Um. Uh. Uh. So
would
I
would
mean,
5,000 be enough?
well, how much?
Would 5,000 be enough?
25,000.
No, 5,000. 5,000.
I mean, I could probably. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're hosted it yourself, control the whole process. Oh yeah, you could double your profit. Like I said, yeah.
Oh, okay. And maybe I'm trying to set up your book that you do write, since that the next
Okay.
the book that you do write, because like I said, I like to give practicals. And when I wrote my first book, I gave it to where like a 14-year-old could replicate this theory in the music industry,
Okay.
and they could make,
Okay.
$1,500 a month selling 6 CDs a day at a certain price. And I priced the book at $12 so a 14-year-old could pay for it. Which I find
That's
that
good.
book now, and I don't get this money, so it's on Europe sites on Amazon, and it sells up to $832 because I
Wow.
I gave my contacts away, but I did that because I knew that the Christian industry was no different than the secular, and I was like,
That's right.
I don't see a long term the way that I talk, very honest and blunt. So I just want to know, for that 14-year-old who may be listening, or that 24-year-old or 34-year-old, if they say, look, I got a savings, I could cash out my 401k, I don't need it. How do I get out of here? How do I get out the get out? You know,
So many Americans be surprised. Who have I met that was very interesting? And a guy that we got, very popular
it's
Walking
the
Dead.
apocalypse.
I
Uh-huh.
met but you meet a lot of interesting traveling. If I'm getting off topic about the money,
Well,
later.
just a path. I'm just thinking of a pathway of, and because at the end of the day, in the description box or wherever, is people going to say, let me contact this guy, and of course
Okay.
I want to have you on the Advise show, so you can tell
Okay.
people, this. But I'm also thinking of the other people I can connect you with. But with that, I'm always thinking about the people who say, I have some money. How do I put it to use? Because they could use someone like you. I tell people I'm a consultant. You could use me based on the people I know, the things I know. And you have such a knowledge in that area where you don't want to babysit people. So sometimes people just want to throw money at you and say, hey, I'll give you 20 grand, just fix my
Yeah.
life. And you're like, and you'll feel like Ivana, fix my life. My life sucks. I need to get out of here. I need to be around them Kim Kardashian lookalikes that you have. I need that 550 condo, and I need to eat fish every day on the beach because I've been beat over my head. I've been abused by, everybody in my life, and so because I talk to kids a lot, and that's kind of one of my purposes, is to create more entrepreneurs. And I talk with a lot of youth. I've worked in the group homes, and some folks really never had a good fair chance, but if they can get just some tidbits of how to start, and sometimes it's going to be out of the country. So you didn't go off topic, you just expounded, and it will help somebody get inspired to say, maybe America's not for me. I truly think America's not for me. My thinking process, the way that I do business, is not even about making the most money. Of course, we need money. Money can answer, all things or many things, however you want to see that. But there has to be some peace. Money can't solve cancer.
No.
Money can't solve you going literally crazy because you make $1 million in the States, and the first thing they do is tax you $350. Thousand, excuse me,
That's
$350.
right.
We wish, but but
That's right. That's right. That's true.
yeah. So, but talk about the tax. You're still getting taxed while in Colombia, and you can't avoid that. Like, how does that come?
No.
Uh huh.
You,
What if you
you
don't?
live in the United States. Huh?
What if you don't? I mean, will they come get you? I mean, do they have you heard of them coming to get anybody and saying you need to come back to the States and serve this time?
I haven't heard of that, but it's a thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
always.
I mean, it's really not that difficult. And on top of that, you see,
Okay.
because
Okay.
everybody asks for that.
Okay. So it's good. Have you ever thought of giving up your American citizenship and saying I love it out here so much I don't need it?
Never came in my head that that's something I should do.
Okay, and I ask you that, just as an American, but I also have to remember you were a sailor, so you put,
That's right.
time, blood, and sweat into things, and it's like, nah, man, there's some perks. If I ever need to go back to the U.S., that VA got me.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, of course. I mean, there's some people.
Okay, and and I also ask that because I know one of the Facebook millionaires, and I don't know if he ever got it, but I believe he gave up his citizenship to get like,
Singapore. right?
Yeah, for Singapore. And also we have to think about, sometimes we look at them like crazy, but our sovereign citizens and our Hebrew Israelites and our Moors,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
they got all the law, haven't hit one law school though, haven't tried to hit one bar, but they got all the law.
Uh,
They are the law if you ask them, because if you look at the 45-degree angle, and that's when I was born, I mean, they just. But so for all of them, I want to answer those questions. You know.
uh,
I hit 33 degrees and went up 10 more, and the Shriners couldn't even
uh,
take me. So,
that's right. That's right.
yeah, we got to hit it for everybody. I don't run from nobody. And I want to, tackle everything, but this is great information that you've given, because you're an example that you can leave America, survive, and that you can be happy, which anybody who goes to Jamaica or Mexico, the tourists, black, white, Chinese, whatever, those people sometimes who are working at the resorts that you guys go to, which I hate, but those people who work at the resorts are happier than us. In America, a lot of times with less. I hate resorts because I don't like to really be catered to like that. I like to really touch real people, have real conversations, and it not be scripted like this one. But no, that's good to know, and it's inspiring. And I know I kept you up late, and that you were.
No, no, it's okay. No, it's
Yeah.
Friday, man.
And you do mean
Like I said,
tulips. Wait, let's clear something out, because they see two brothers talking about flowers and say they talking code. You mean roses and
no,
tulips and
there you go.
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. Like, man, I'm gonna go
Roses
out.
and
Yeah,
tulips.
yeah. Be- be-
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would love to see, like, you document more of your experience and put it on YouTube,
Uh,
and it doesn't have to be the biggest channel, because sometimes the biggest channel doesn't spark the active minds. I mean, we even see that with some of the bigger YouTubers, that it's the people who come on Patreon, it's the people who really support, that are making life changes. All these trolls who will say, yeah, you're right, or you're wrong. Who cares about them, man?
yeah.
I'm gonna take my family on vacation, and like LeBron said, you're still gonna be living the life that you live. And when I say the life, I mean that miserable life that you live because you're thinking in a negative. Like, my whole life is positive. Everything that happens. I got stuck in the snow today, about to go tubing. I said, man, I tell my 7-year-old that was one heck of an experience. Daddy almost got stuck. So it's how you look at things. And overseas, you're winning right now. And we see that real wood that you got. It looks like something out of House Hunters. You know, you got the skylight. I,
Yeah, skylight's been there, right?
hmm
Last year,
Okay, it's bright, so I can't see. So okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
see that?
yeah, I see that.
So
Hmm.
and you could they manufacture
Ah,
jeans.
okay.
Give me what's a Levi's.
Levi's,
Um,
Jordache, Jabos. I'm old school. I
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
real old school, man.
Yeah, Oshkosh Bagosh. I'll go there. But no, I don't know the new brands. Like, whatever the kids are wearing, I don't know. My wife says I'm
Uh,
beyond that stage. You look foolish trying to keep up. But nor do I. I have a different style when I go out anyway. But they're in Colombia, so anybody in fashion really needs to hit you, and you play the consultant role, so you could kind of
that's right.
walk them through that.
Reasonable, man.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, example, like you asked me, $25,000 to invest, being the way it is. There's lots of opportunities, so strong, and also the way they are too.
Mm-hmm.
I think the average labor depends on the job, somewhere around there. For insurance, you got to pay for retirement. But there's a lot of entrepreneurs. I've met a lot of American entrepreneurs that have started. They're down in Medellin. I've met some from other countries.
Well, see, you're talking fashion. Do you find that a lot of the black Colombians have a connection to Africa, to where they're wearing the traditional African wear? That just comes to me real
No,
quick. No.
no, no, no. They're dressing. That's
Okay.
how they're mostly dressing. I mean, that would be pretty cool. Like Choco, big African population out there, Barranquilla. But I tell you that I mean, you have a lot of people who were
Mm-hmm.
Jewish population. They can trace their ancestry gene.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very, very interesting. You know, Shakira is from
Okay.
and
Okay. Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
not just the
everybody knows Shakira, right?
yeah, not just the belly dancer. You know, I when you said that name, it's no hate on Shakira, but the way she stole that African song during the World Cup,
Yeah,
I needed my
yeah,
my my
yeah.
my my, my, my Africans, the darker ones, to get represented. I mean,
Uh,
the what people who know what I'm talking about. But you do
yeah.
an African song that's known, and you put it in the World Cup, and it's like it's kind of like how Cardi B represents everybody from where's she from, like the DR or whatever. It's like, come
Yeah,
on, man, like dark skin. It's like Univision. Put some more
yeah.
dark skinned people on there. Islam is right there speaking Spanish. Give them a roll real quick and. Because it should be like that. I mean, so no, that's no that I just was wondering, just how the dress and the culture and if they're connected, because from what I hear, there's not like a Black Lives Matter in South America, you know, like there is
No,
here. Uh-huh.
so that's that's
Mhm.
there is a lot of there. If you would ask me the cultures, like for example, salsa, that's
Yeah, plantains.
anybody who eats plantains, man, they
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
that's from Africa, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of different food that you probably would recognize if you spend any time in Africa.
Okay.
Dance too, man. I mean, it's Rico, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, and I met a girl that, and I mean, perfect. Was like, where are you from? I thought she was States.
Yeah.
But I want to go back for 1 second. There's a guy that around the Beltway picks cars up, stuff, right?
Mhm.
A guy. But here's the thing: we never even met each other. We used to park a lot Barnes, and we had all the cars on the week person, and now he's
Wow.
that yeah, man.
That's yeah, small world. And you were talking that's rich folk stuff, that racing, that's so hey, some sailors hit the bar right off they get the ship, some put it in the cars, but yeah, no, that's
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 right.
yeah,
Turn the
that
wrench, man. Turn the wrench.
yeah, no,
I
that's
mean, it's
beautiful.
here. I would like to help. It's a real challenge. Going to university, that's cool and everything. The school for now may not be worth anything.
Yeah.
So, at college, you don't like to hear that because, I mean, I wouldn't want to hear a crazy amount of money. I mean, like I always tell people, say, listen, if you have a dream, you have a business idea, you want to get to university, ain't going nowhere. Go to school part time, take some online classes, but pursue that entrepreneur. Markets change, Yes,
Mhm.
everything is cool. Tomorrow it changes. A really good example of
Yeah.
that's why he had a moment. It's hot, so you can street understanding, and then you still be around. And all this stuff I'm talking about is really it's
I met a young brother the other night at the gym, and he was telling me, he got a soccer dream. He wants to, do business, junior college, trying to do study business. And I told him that's a waste of time, man. I said, if you want to do business, just do business. Nobody on Monster or Indeed is looking for somebody, and he was a black guy, for a business degree. 20 years old. No one's looking for you for a business degree. If you want to do business, go to the SBA, look on YouTube, and read books more, because you don't need that for business. Now, I went to school. I did all that. I've taught school in various levels. Even in grad school, I taught school. What I do now, could I have done without a degree? I could have. Did it help me? It validates me in some
yeah.
ways, but I was teaching professors certain things because, social media, and you talk algorithms, and people over a decade ago were like, what are you talking about? When I graduated in 79, what are you talking about algorithms? The computer wasn't even out like that. So I really don't think school is not there to teach you. School, you're there to be tested for you to go to another level. What we need people to go to school for is to become nurses and doctors, and maybe if you want to do some type of finance or coding, but not really, because you're meeting people at the banks who didn't go to school. You're meeting people who are doing coding who didn't go to school. They said that's ridiculous. I can do this at 13, at 14. So,
That's right.
I'm not really the biggest proponent of telling kids, and that's maybe why I'm not the biggest speaker. Maybe that's why I'm not the prince of education like Dr. Umar is the prince of Pan-Africanism, because I don't follow this pattern of this is the way it has to be, because we've seen too many examples. And I don't mean the positive examples, I mean the examples of people paying financial aid trillions of dollars and they can't pay it and have to default.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, really, it doesn't really because here in the real world, you don't.
at all.
So, so the thing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he never graduated. $30,000 offers from all these
Mm-hmm.
without a degree, and he's like, man, when I see a degree,
Yeah.
he has no degree. I mean, he's actually out for a server company.
Wow.
There's stuff like that place over in the Middle East, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, UAE, part of the UAE. I'm probably missing a couple of UAE, but that's a good place too. And before, I mean, Africa, we're making a lot of entrepreneurs are making a lot of money in Africa. No one's really talking about this.
And they're not going to, because you're trying to stay off the radar when you're making that type of money. I work for a server company, Synology, and people can see me at CES in Vegas talking about Synology. And, I didn't work there as a consultant or the PR guy, whatever, long. But while I was there, I got certified in all of their software, because what I saw was on the map of where they sold their stuff, Africa had like 3 or 4 people who were certified on their platinum level to sell. And I said, if all goes to Hades, I'm pushing this to Africa, because government agencies use Synology. I mean, top ones. I don't want to put it out there like that, because I always joke around and say, I got what Hillary has at my house. I'm using what Hillary has. It's never been hacked into, right? But I want to be respectful of the U.S. government agencies that use this, because, there's people who listen, and they listen real well. They hack elections and everything else. But I can take this information to Africa. Now, Africa's told me it's a little expensive and we're not there yet. But, I have my little friends there who are working on banks and hospitals, because Africa's about to blow up. We have 2
Yeah.
military bases in Cameroon that, at least until a few years ago, no, and I don't even know if you can still see it on the map. People are like, there's military bases in Cameroon. And with the sailor, I'm not going to go into the details, because America apparently doesn't want people to know too much about these bases, but they're there. And we now know through the different African organizations that are on Africon and whatnot, you can see different bases pop up. Like when that soldier last year got killed. People are like, what is a soldier doing in this part of Africa? Like, what are we doing in Africa? There's a lot going on in Africa. And black people are going to be the last people to find out. They are going to...
Probably, man.
Yeah, and you know what? This is probably the conservative side of me. It's not anybody's fault if you haven't researched where the opportunities are. This is just like the gold rush. Nobody's going to tell you where the gold is. You have to research and see, and that's why I like to always explore different countries. People say, why would you go there? I don't know what was there, but there may be some gold for a brother there that, people tell me stuff that are skinheads and Klansmen that they may not even think I'm going to do anything with, and they just want to vent real quick. I've had guys tell me they've seen, well, I almost said too much, but they've seen acts that have no statute of limitations back in the 60s and 70s in Mississippi, and they're crying tears saying how it was unjust and unfair that how their uncles and grandfathers treated black people. And I'm like, whoa, and that's nothing that I really want to, oh, it was so-and-so. We're going to let them die because they're old, because they were confiding in me a story that I would never have been told. But with that, I get little jewels and gems and see that white men, especially from the South, they feel guilty. And they're scared. They feel guilty. There's a lot going on, and I'm more of a humanist, I guess, where I want mankind. I don't want things just to be fairer for black folk. We want that, right now. But we don't want it to be fair for black folk, and then we flip it where we are the oppressor, because that's not even our natural thing. We just want things to be fair, where if you're qualified to do a job, you get it and you get paid the same amount of money, whether you're a man, woman, or whatnot. Which, as a sailor, you can understand everybody, an E1 gets paid what an E1 gets paid.
That's right.
And I think we could take that same system to go across the board, except probably in America where capitalism is king. And, if your uncle is a certain name, you're going to already get that job, which sucks, but it is what it is. So,
out where into Africa, the same.
So it's mobile. Wait, we can't laugh. It's mobile.
Like, I need a washer, dollars per hour machine. It took it away,
man. So they're charging you to use your electricity. They just have the machine.
Right.
I like that. I like that. They don't fold the clothes for you, do they? Okay.
Yeah, but this in my bills every month, man. like I probably pay a month.
Wow.
Electricity bill.
Wow.
My gas bill category. My internet is about $30 for my internet.
Okay.
A month.
And you're getting better reception than I, because like I told you, I had to double record because sometimes, I'm in Seattle, Washington, and sometimes, I'm in the suburb of it. Sometimes it's jacked up, and I pay a lot more. I've had business internet through Comcast in here, and it still is jacked up where we're at. I don't know what it is, but you're winning right now. You are winning, and I'm gonna tell everybody, this brother can call you on the phone and talk to you like it was free.
Oh, and I don't listen, and check this out. I don't have base, and I ain't got no right.
Yeah.
Use Magic Jack, but I need internet. The cell phone. I don't have I just go when I leave the house to charge my internet. Be 75-cent internet from my phone.
Really, okay. And you can hit apps and everything, no problem.
Messenger and all that stuff. I go and I pay for my internet for the day.
See, that's beautiful, because in South Africa, when I was there, this is pre-World Cup. The internet, in your phone was so expensive that it was just, you had to be on another level, and I'm just paying for it every day just buying time. But what I noticed is, and what the people at Viacom thought was funny when they tried to laugh me out the building when I said this, people were still texting during their version of TRL. At the time, it was Channel O. And that was run through, it was made in Nigeria, and they're not around right now. They've actually expanded where they're more local based in the countries. But people were texting things during like their version of TRL or 106 in Park, happy birthday so-and-so. And I'm like, phone time is so much to send a text or anything, but the people still have time and money, which lets you know what people value is communication and connection. And
that's right.
They'll spend the money, and I'm like, oh, I gotta be out here again. I gotta come out and really live, because even though things are more expensive, people probably spend more money and time. And in Colombia, it sounds like it's cheaper. So that's beautiful.
About $200 round trip, $30 and $40. I can go from one end of the country to the other, like $45. I go down and grab a train.
Yeah.
And that's no there.
Okay.
So
I gotta connect you too, and remind me. I'm glad this is recorded. I gotta connect you. I have a friend who does. He has a business out that way, tourism, and I think it's a partnership thing, and I think it's expanded. But he's
out here in Colombia.
Yeah, out there in Colombia, black guy, and while I say it on air, he says he's gonna take me and my wife on a trip. She gets 15 days off a year. She's in that slave patrol that every physician has to go through. But but no, it's yeah, I have to connect you because there's a lot that you're doing that can help a lot of people, and of course, business wise, I hope make you some money, because
Yeah.
a brother have to, you might be the new I'm the chief of Pan Africanism. I'm playing off somebody's name. I know I'm the chief, but we have to get brothers who are really showing, hey, I can set you up with a business, and that's what nobody is doing. And I know it's my purpose to. I know how many entrepreneurs that I've helped and I've put on. I have the documentation from them to say thank you for setting this up. But we need more of that because it's great to say, well, I'm winning in Colombia, or I'm winning in Africa, Nigeria, Cameroon. But let me show you how to win, you know, and that's what's
I
important to me.
real estate moves the market in Colombia. I mean, real estate values they do here in Colombia. So I've seen it, man. They got the land sitting in the contract, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all they do is the designs, the architectural, the layout. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, they partner with the bank. They show the project. So you have a lot of people. So when they invest in the property, like and what happens is, okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
different here.
Okay.
So as the process,
Hmm.
tremendous opportunity. So you get land on the contract. It says, yeah, I want to develop property, right,
Mm-hmm.
in Colombia. So they get the land. They do is they crowdfund it. Without the project,
Wow.
regular people, and that's how the project is done. So it's
What's the
amazing. So, okay,
return
well,
on something like that? Just average like.
be like somewhere around $10 million, especially in a certain sector, like
Mm-hmm.
the sector I live in, because it's like and it's very mountainous, easier to breathe. The climate is beautiful. Parts they come here.
Now, is it
So
something that everybody can get into, or is there like a minimum where you have to have 50,000 US dollars or whatnot, or can?
I was suggesting for like an American developer who
Mm-hmm.
wanted to come to Colombia and wanted to build his own apartment buildings
Mm-hmm.
or luxury apartment buildings because of the labor and also because of the dependence. Everybody here gives good returns,
Okay.
and they like that.
What I want to make clear is, let's say they because when you say crowdfunding, on Indiegogo, or if it's whatever GoFundMe, anybody can invest. So is it one of those things where anybody can say, look, I got $500, let me put something on that and I'm gonna get a return?
Or crowd. It's not like that. It's
Okay.
more like
Mm-hmm.
so they go. It's like, say for example, project you drive past, right, and the 3D graphics. Got this one available. Say, listen, I want a month.
Okay.
Right. So all that coming in is how they execute on the project. Right.
Okay.
So they're getting their profit. Like what I mean by crowdfunding. So I would just create a crowdfunding product.
Well, many cultures, the original crowdfunding, it's an African thing. Some cultures call it Jangi. I know Haitians call it Saul. It's where families and friends come together. They put their money and say, I'm going to give, let's say it's $200 a month, and one person takes that pot each month, and they win. That's the original crowdfunding.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so you can John Gee. I don't know how to spell that, but I know but I know in West Africa, especially Cameroon, that's where, and people see the jersey whatnot in Cameroon. That's what it's called, and in Haiti, it's called a saw. But everyone has their name for it. But that's the original one. So we've been crowdfunding since the beginning. Something about capitalism has stopped us from one trusting each other because, for me, when I learned about it, I said, what stops somebody from not paying? And they say nothing but their reputation. And I love that because it just, a lot of times I'll do a deal and I'm not advised by the people who help me with keeping this business together to do it. But it's like we can do a deal like the Hasidic Jews are known to do a deal. We've been doing deals like that where just a handshake, it's an agreement. I know my money's going to come. You're not going to be late because you respect me and I respect you. But that's the original crowdfunding. So I like that. Because the Saul or the Jangi is the same thing, where we know you have to have your 200 or whatever you've agreed to for the whole year. And so I've had family members who've come out with $60,000 in a month because they put in that money, and it's a way of saving. And so we just have to go back to the old school. Everything our mothers and grandmothers and beyond said was right, and we have to go back to that to really win. Because what we can't do, we can't win individually. I don't do any business successfully individually. We have to have a team.
It's
Yeah.
a team part where if was this guy's
David?
name, I can't remember. David slew Goliath.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah, and David might have done that, but there were witnesses too. And without those witnesses, we really wouldn't know if he did it or not. So everything is a team effort. And I think especially black folks in America have to get back to, we didn't build Tulsa, we didn't build Rosewood, or any of the things people love to say, oh, we built this and they bombed it. We didn't build anything individually. There was nothing. No one person came. We know there were 100, millionaires and all this stuff, but you got to come together to do it. So
that's right.
Yeah. So yeah. Go ahead.
I was like how do you get around? Have something.
Well, no, my biggest thing, and it's a personal thing in business. If we're not able to build other entrepreneurs, we really haven't done anything. We could run around. I've raced Lamborghinis. It's really not that impressive after you do it. I've done the white water rafting. I've jumped on bulls and all the stuff that they say is, oh, you made it. And but making somebody go from a full-time job and now they have even the hope that they can do their business full-time and they can hire somebody else and partner with someone else, that's more gratifying. When they cremate me, that's what I want people to talk about. Not this stuff that we bought, because the stuff that you bought, what is it? I mean, how much stuff can you buy? And I haven't bought everything that I could think of. I don't have that pyramid at my house that, I can go. I don't even want an elevator. I really want the manpower to push me up, right? But at the end of the day, what did that do for me and my children, who, if they ever need help, they need to have people they can pull from. So that's all. Business should be about hiring other people, building other people. And if it's not about that for you, you're just kind of greedy and, selfish. And
You're
that's
right.
it.
I mean, it's
Yeah. And we all like nice things. I mean, there's a difference between flying Southwest and flying first class. But, when I'm spending my good old money and I'm taking my whole family, Southwest right now is where we going, and we should be thankful and happy. And I've seen millionaires, multi-millionaires that I know, and I'm like, how are you flying Southwest? I won't say some of their names because some of them are like, Kellen, you didn't have to put me out there like that. I wanted people to, but it's the more money you make, I think the more you want to be able to do, not just double, but you also want to save. And after the luxuries, whatever those are for different people, it's how am I going to be remembered? And I'm always thinking about in business my demise. Every business deal is, if I leave this earth and this is my last deal, how will I be remembered? Will I be remembered as the liar who took advantage of the person and overcharged them for services I knew we could have knocked out the same way for this price? Now, my prices aren't the cheapest, and people always get on me, especially black folk. They say, man, that's kind of high. I've had doctors tell me that's kind of high. And I'm like, well, if you look at it per hour and the hours you're actually getting a really great wage. But, we know some people will go buy a Prada bag before they go buy a person, and it's like, I know publicists who do work for real low and they're worth even more. So it's just how you see business. But the people who really win have a positive attitude. They help people. They almost would do this for free if they could. And they win. Bill Gates doesn't have to work. Warren Buffett doesn't have to work. and they still work because they're passionate. Now, Bernie Madoff, that's a whole different thing. He was working every day. Yeah, and we saw how that ended. I'm not trying to be Bernie Madoff, you know.
I
Hmm.
really would like to, there's
And
something you can't learn in college.
yeah, and that's why I'm gonna bother you later on about this book because you've named about 5 businesses and you can actually set up a curriculum that I think even the SBA here in America would be interested in. And I say that based off experience because I've gone through the SBA program. We're 8A certified, but also I have other people that I'm working with who we've set them up to where government agencies have come to them and say, you know what, we could really use your curriculum. We don't get it. We don't know how to hit that population. And it's usually a minority population. They don't know how to make more entrepreneurs. The SBA, in my opinion, doesn't do a good job of outreach. And I've told different people, you guys don't spend time on outreaching. People don't know they could go get a free business plan from you. And you guys need to be targeting the high schools, the junior colleges, the colleges, and beyond. And the people who are coming out of prison who we know aren't going to get hired, and you guys need to focus on them and meet them right outside when they got that, in the jail, in the movie scene, they got the bag, the see-through bag. Y'all need to be right there. Hey, the SBA has a way for you because they will deal with you even if you have a record. You know.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have year goes out running a study.
No, 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 no. SBA has a guaranteed loan program, and the trick of that is if you have 20% of what you're asking for.
That's right.
Yeah, and you so you have to be careful what you're asking for. But once they go through that business plan with you, and again, my experience, I was, I used to write business plans before going to the SBA. I was a little bit above the grade, and I was part of an organization in Texas, the 100 Black Men, where the vice president was the director, regional director. So I had a different knowledge of how they worked. So I don't want to say it's so easy because I've sent so many people there and they've told me things and I'm like, no, that's not how they work. And they're like, oh, but it's just like, and I think you'll like this example. It's just like when you call GoDaddy. If you know what you're looking for, you'll get a whole different. You go to GoDaddy and act like you don't know what you're talking about, and they'll tell you, "Oh no, what you really need to do is sign up for this service, and it's going to cost you an extra $100." But if you tell them, "No, this is the problem, and I have 10 other sites, as you see, so I know what I'm talking about," GoDaddy would, oh, okay. Because they're salespeople at the end of the day. So if you know what you're looking for, you're not just going to the SBA for a business plan. You're going there to get that software that would cost you $5,000 to analyze the other 100 companies in a 100-mile radius. And if you know that, you're good. But that's why you and I still have jobs because we can tell clients, hey, you pay us this, we'll get you situated, and what we know, for me, people say, your soft skills are awesome. I'm like, what are soft skills? Because this was hard to learn. I don't know what soft skills, this was trial and error. It wasn't nothing soft about this. I'm from East Oakland, California. You can't be soft. This is real. Nothing about you can be soft. But no, it's the SBA. It is a maze, and that's why we have jobs. But I like to tell people you could go to the SBA and get a lot of this information that I have for free. But they have the guaranteed loan program. It is a pain in the neck. But for some people, it's the only way they're going to get money because they've never heard what a venture capitalist is. They don't know what an angel investor is. And being in Seattle, that's one thing I can say I've learned a lot about because people will give you money, and I won't take it right now. I've had the popular YouTubers pass down venture capital. Once I explained, if you take this $10 million, these people pretty much own you and can tell you everything you want to say. And the sharp ones say, oh, no. You can't tell me what to say.
All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
an MBA.
Yeah.
That's an MBA. Most entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's kind of complicated on how they evaluate company, invest in your own company.
Yeah.
So if you make that sacrifice,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, like most of the time, if you're a part-time entrepreneur, it becomes game is still complicated. It becomes more complicated for someone to trust. You leave your job and work. Why I say the younger your parents are paying the mortgage. You know, that because you got a lot of time to screw up. You got a lot of time. It becomes more complicated. It becomes more of a learning curve. I mean, you can still do it. Don't get bills. You got to have a family. You got children. You got all this stuff. They're going to take the back burner. So the younger you are to our family unit, 10 years old, if a kid's got an idea, hey, you never know. Funding your retirement, it might be wise to fund him or her.
Especially, I met a 12-year-old who was doing YouTube when we were just on vacation, and he was my sister-in-law's neighbor, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing YouTube, I got 2 channels, and I'm like, hey, you need to get YouTube certified. And then his dad comes out, and here I am late night. It's late night, like 10 o'clock for a 12-year-old talking about this, and his dad comes out, and I'm telling him, hey, get this young man, because I just love to see young talent of all shapes and everything. And I'm like, get him certified, go here, because this guy could be making money. And he's like, I could quit if he could be making that money, because the guy, you know, he wasn't rich or anything. He was middle class. And so, yeah, getting started. And, you know, and I'm preaching to myself when I say this. Don't get them started too young, because I had my 7-year-old write a book. And I teach her everything about the business and even how we treat everybody. And, you know, she's listening to the conversations. And I'm like, you know, this person did this, but this is why this was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. You know, even when we get relieved from a position, I'm like, they should not have relieved me, because I'm about to take this information to their competition and we're going to win still, you know, because I don't sign any non-disclosure, because my ideas are my ideas. But I'm teaching her at 7 that I don't care what you do in life. Think business. My wife, the same way. I don't care what you do. I don't care what your income potential. It can't hit what business can do for you and the legacy business can do. Because I remember a time when, you know, everyone wanted to be Dr. Huxtable and Claire, but they didn't have no business. And, you know, and they wish they did now, you know. We saw when they tried to bring the show back together, they weren't living like they used to be living, even though it was a whole different thing. But, you know, you got to have business no matter what. And,
bro,
yeah.
You know, for family business, the
Uh-huh.
cockatiel passed the bird, man. And the kids negotiating with me. I'm thinking here with like a 25-year-old. Something I like. Work the businesses, man. I mean, you know,
The same way the Chinese will have a 5-year-old taking money. I've seen it in Ruston, Louisiana, and I know that boy is winning now. I've seen it, you know, and we're the only one. Sometimes I feel we're the only ones who don't pass that on, and that's old school teaching where people had to, you know, kids had to work on the farm before going to school. School was secondary, but you better get this farm life, because this is what's paying the bills. That school is good theory. So no, that's yeah, we have to get on that more and more, and we're gonna talk again. And I'm not cutting this because we're at a hour and 45 minutes. I'm cutting it because my little light's going on, and I don't want to have to bother my wife and say, "Hey, I had to use your computer. Where do you put your charger again?" But we're gonna talk, and you know, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna introduce you to those people, and I want you to even talk on bigger platforms that will have, you know, 10,000 people in a day. Come on, because people need to hear your message. They need to hear the story and have hope. I'm a small walking billboard, but I appreciate it, Islam. I appreciate you letting me wake you up, and you know, where I put my ladies to sleep, and I could actually have quiet time in the office, and you know, be as loud as I want while drinking my tea, whatnot, my late night tea, you know. But we'll do this, and I want to talk soon, and but I just don't want it to cut. So let's wrap, and I appreciate you, man. Be blessed.
I don't want to. I had like.
Hey.
So
I would have called that 12-year-old and say, who do you know who works cheaper than you? I need them to go through these emails. I've been putting these kids. I put kids to work, man. But I'm not. No, do that. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're gonna talk again soon. Thank you. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
You know, yeah. I mean, to being overseas, I went a lot of different places. So it's like, you know, it's not a big deal to live overseas. Once you go overseas,